Hello everyone! Welcome back for another episode of the Try-Brarians. I'm Miss Gabi, and with our October theme of getting spooky, today's project is all about making a spooky silhouette scene. So I'm going to go over what we need really quickly. You need some black paper. Again, I'm working on using up this really big piece, but you can use whatever size black paper you have. You need a box. Again, whatever size you have at home is perfect. The bigger your box, the more supplies you'll need and the more things you can do with your scene. But the smaller your box will still work just fine also. You just have to fit your scene to fit your box. So you'll need a box. You'll need a utility knife or a super sharp scissors so that we can cut the flaps of our box off because we won't need these parts. If you are using a utility knife, please be super safe and use a grown-up's permission and supervision when you do. You'll want a scissors for cutting out our spooky silhouette scene of our black paper. If you want a pencil to draw your scene first, you can use that also. You'll need a paintbrush and some paint. I'm going to go for an orange background so we get kind of a spooky glow. And I don't actually have orange paint, but we can make some. And you'll want some glue, and the only thing I don't have out right now is a battery operated tea light or something else that will shine light behind our silhouette, but we'll get to that when more of it is finished and you can see what we're doing with it. So to get started, I'm going to cut the flaps off of my box. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to paint the inside of my box in my orange color. I have covered my work surface with a paper bag so that hopefully I don't get any paint on it or me. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my red and yellow paint until I have a decent shade of orange. You can use orange, yellow, whatever kind you want. The lighter color in the background is going to better show the silhouette in the front. So I wouldn't recommend painting the background black or anything like that. But let's get started with some orange. All right, now that the inside of our box is all orange, notice that I got all the sides also because those will show. We're going to set that aside to let it dry and wash our hands. The next thing we're going to do is make our spooky silhouette. While the paint is drying on the box that we just painted, it is time to make the shadow elements of our spooky scenery. So what I have out for this next part is my black paper, which you can't see very well because it blends into my tabletop here. A pencil because I don't quite know what I'm going to draw yet, and I like to be able to erase it if I make mistakes. And then you'll need your scissors to cut out the scenery pieces. You could make something like a haunted house, all spooky and windows, maybe some spider webs or some spooky bats. Maybe a creepy crawly graveyard and some zombie hands are coming up from the dirt. You can really make however spooky or not spooky you want to make your shadow scene. So what you'll need to do is draw out your elements and then cut them. There are two important things to remember for this part. One is that it has to fit inside the box that you're using for the background part. You don't want it too tall or too wide. And then the second part is that whatever design you make, so if you make a spooky house, you'll need to leave a strip at the bottom that we can fold, and that'll be the base. So we'll fold that part, and the rest of your design will stand up, and this will be what we glue to the bottom of the box so that it stands on its own. So let's draw some spooky scenery. Now I have my box is painted and dry, and I have my spooky scene silhouettes all cut out and ready to go. So now it is time to assemble them in the box in order to make our scene. So something that we want to remember when we're doing this part is to not put it all the way against the back, because we want the light that we're going to put in back to shine behind it so that it has kind of a shadow box effect. So we want to try to put our pieces closer to the front, and that's why we made an extra strip on the bottom of our pieces that we can fold under and then glue to the bottom of the box. Another thing that I'm going to try to do is kind of stagger the pieces so that they're not all on the same line, to give it kind of more of a 3D multi-dimensional effect. So it might be a little hard to do this so that you can see and I can see, but we're gonna give it our best shot. So let's go. For this part, you'll need your pieces also and your glue. So get that ready. Okay, so what I just did was fold a strip of the bottom of my hills here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this part, and then that's the part that is going to go on the bottom of the box so that the hills stand up. Now that I have my pieces all cut out and glued where I want them into the box, it looks like this. Ooh, as you can see, my house is kind of leaning towards me, so I'm just going to bend it back a bit. There we go. All right, so we have a 3-dimensional effect. We've got some bats, a spooky house, a creaky old tree, and some zombie hands coming up from the hills there. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my battery operated tea lights. I'm going to turn them on. And I'm going to put them behind the figures that I have standing up in there. Okay. So Doesn't glow a lot because the house lights are on. But, oh, can you see a little spooky glow down there? So my tea light is in there, but because the house lights are on and it's daytime out, it doesn't glow quite as much as I want it to yet. But we'll have to come back and take a peek at it when it's dark and we can make it glow. Please do not use any real flame to light the back of your spooky silhouette scenery. Remember that everything you've made is out of paper and therefore highly flammable. You can use battery operated tea lights like I did, or even a small set of string lights or anything you might have like that. You can lay them back there. You could even cut a hole in the back of your box in order to, if you had to like plug in the string lights or something like that. So I hope you enjoy this spooky silhouette scenery. And remember, you can make it as spooky as you want with any type of figures that fit your spooky preferences. One thing, again, Try-Brarians, we're kind of seeing what does and doesn't work, is that I would definitely recommend the black paper being either cardstock or even cardboard that you paint black, because it definitely needs to be firm enough to be able to stand up mostly on its own like that. I think if you use plain construction paper, it might be a little too floppy and it'll curl over. But you could always experiment and do your own version of Try-Brarians and see different methods of making it stand up straight. Maybe you use toothpicks glued to the back, or popsicle sticks, things like that. Whatever might help you create your very own spooky silhouette scenery. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.